What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show. We have here today a brother of mine, someone who I've won a gold medal with, and that you may have seen me speak with before. And I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy this. And I think this will be a little bit different. Honestly, I have all of these notes here to talk about and go off of. But the reality is I think what you're going to enjoy most about this is going to be a dope conversation with me and my brother, 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, Chicago Bulls star, DeMar DeRozan. What's up, my brother?
My dog, man. Appreciate you, man. You know, if you want me on the show, I'm coming. I don't care what it's about. You can start a cooking show tomorrow. I'll be on it. So
I appreciate that, brother. Number one, I want to say thank you because I don't never take this for granted. Although we will chop it up any day, talk on the phone any day. I think the thing that most people don't realize is like how much fun I have doing this. But when you're with someone, like I talk to this dude probably 3 to 4 times a week all year. And, you know, when you're allowed to do something that you love with the people you love and share that with you, I don't take that for granted. So getting into this, number one, let's go right into this. What I had a chance last weekend to watch you and Bron play in the Drew League. And for me, I enjoyed the hell out of it. And the reason I enjoyed it was because you missed that atmosphere. Like I missed the atmosphere of going into a high school gym and playing basketball or watching a basketball game. Now you take that to another level, and I'm going into a high school gym watching you and LeBron James play a basketball game. What was that like? And I know you play in the Drew often, but I can't imagine the energy that I felt that day. I can't imagine that it's always like that.
Nah, I mean, I made it a conscious effort to come back this off season and say I was going to try playing the Drew every weekend. You know, last couple of years, you know, especially with the pandemic, it was the summer, it wasn't no Drew. The following summer was kind of sporadic all over the place. You know, so that basketball element, you know, for the community hasn't been there. You know, I think for me, I was just trying to get back on top of working on my game, but just give the kids that hasn't had the opportunity to see, you know, basketball up close and personal, you know, and for me, it was just a conscious effort of being there. And it was one day, the previous weekend, Bron had hit me after I played in it and was like, yo, I'm trying to come down there and play with you. So I'm like, you know, in the moment, I'm like, hell yeah, that's dope. You know, not just for me, just for the community, you know, and he was with it. You know, I told him, man, come on, let's do it. You know, he hit me the night before. I put out a little tweet, you know, and woke up the next day, and it was one of those moments that you can't duplicate. Like I remember when Kobe came and played in the Drew. That was kind of one of the most epic moments of how he did that. But it wasn't even supposed to have been a game played that day. So this time around with Bron coming, it was a game supposed to be played. I've been playing in it. And to wake up that morning and see the line around the Drew League stretched around the corner, it just took it back to that old school, early 2000s feel. Like you said, being in the high school gym, and just to see the kids out there being able to see LeBron James come play in Compton, like you cannot beat that, you know. And the atmosphere was one of a kind. It was special. I was honored to be a part of it, and you know, I got to give credit to Bron for even, you know, you talking about a guy that's the GOAT in our league, going into his 20th season. You know, going out there playing like what we grew up watching, you know what I mean? It was an amazing feeling. You know, I had a great time just being out there, you know, playing with him, obviously. And, you know, you just look around. It was a couple moments where I just looked around, you see kids, you know, just the smile and the excitement on their face. Like that's something that they gonna remember forever. And that's what it's all
Absolutely. I spoke about this on maybe 2 episodes ago on a podcast, and and I was speaking about, number one, some of the talking heads come out and want to dissect the game. Number one, we're not dissecting a Drew League game. Now, we're not even going to go Summer League. That's NBA Summer League. We're not dissecting a Drew League game. But what I said on that episode was what it was for me. And again, I'm not from Compton. I'm not from LA. I don't play in LA. I live here. And so this isn't my community. Now, in saying that, you from here, I got other folks from here. I embrace the community because this community has been great to me, although I haven't played here or I'm not from here. So I embrace this community. But as someone who's not a local here, what I saw was, like you just said, kids that will never in their life have the opportunity to watch you play, have the opportunity to watch LeBron James play. And like, I could feel that. Like, you could see that. You could see the reactions on their faces. And to allow the city to touch him, growing up for me, and I'm sure it's the same way for you, maybe possibly a little different for you because it's bigger around you as opposed to me growing up in Saginaw. NBA players were like surreal to me.
Yeah, no question.
Like,
yes.
They weren't real people. They're like somebody you watch play basketball on TV and like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I want to do that one day, but no clue how to get there. What I saw from those kids was like, they got to touch you. They got to touch LeBron James. How big is that for the community and continuing to move Compton forward and continuing to make Compton a better place than it was when you arrived in Compton?
That's what it's all about. And that was even a conversation I had with Brian, was saying, this was for the city. Last couple years, the passing of Kobe, we lost Nipsey Hussle. It's been, the city has kind of been extremely heavy with losing a lot of legends that the community look up to, and guys just outside of sports that move this whole community and give you imagination and give you that inspiration to want to keep pushing forward. So that moment there was an opportunity for us to capitalize on. And like you said, you've seen it in these kids' face that's going to do something for them that's way beyond just basketball. It gives you a sense of motivation, confidence, inspiration, and want to be something bigger and better than what you see in that moment. I remember when I was a kid, no disrespect, but to me, my first NBA player that I seen that I thought was everything that I could touch was Derek Martin. Most people won't even know who Derek Martin is, but I remember seeing him at my grandfather's house when I was a kid, and just knowing he was in the NBA was the only motivation I needed to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
100%.
You telling me LeBron James just came down here to play, and right across the street is the projects, right down the street, like, is the neighborhood I grew up in. Like, I could go on and own what's around that community. So to see this man come up there and play, damn, it about, critiquing it. Like you said, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than basketball. It's being an inspiration and a motivation to that community to have light and to keep pushing forward. And that was a positive day that's going to be remembered forever.
Hennessy celebrates those who never stop, never settle, and their never-ending pursuit of greatness. Maurice Ashley lives his passion. An inspiring story of intellect and brilliance, his ability to push the potential of his own mind to new levels of greatness is universally inspiring. In the world of the mind, there are no limits. Hennessy, never stop, never settle. If you want to learn more about Maurice Ashley, visit www.hennessy.com. 21 plus. Please drink responsibly. I'll be 100% honest. After I watched that, I'm like, yo, I think I need to play in the Drew. But I haven't played in a pro-am game in probably 6 or 7 years. And I think for me, when I did used to play, I used to play back in Michigan. And the reason I played in the Shy League before, and the reason I don't play in summer league or like pro-am games or whatever it is in the summer is because I get too serious. Like it's either I'm gonna be like dialed in and serious as hell, or I can't take the game serious. And if I can't take the game serious, then I don't like being out there.
No question.
But I then watched you get into it with the taxi Kobe's on. So that's the only way I'm gonna remember him is that he had on the taxi Kobe's. And by the way, kind of pissed me off a little bit. You was over there on the sideline talking, and he just sitting there mugging when he didn't get back in the game.
Right.
I don't know, bro, but I ain't appreciated that shit. Kind of pissed me off a little bit. But in saying that, it feel like to me, once I saw that, it gets serious out there, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the game we grew up on. You know what I mean? Like that's how I looked at the game. Where when you go to the park or you go to the gym, like it's not playtime. You know what I mean? And no matter if I'm playing in NBA or if I'm playing in Drew League or if it's nobody watching,
absolutely,
that's the passion I have towards the game, and that's how if you that way, that's what it's called for. I don't care who you playing against. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But that's the beauty of the game in itself, to be able to bring that side out of you, to be a complete competitor. I don't know nobody who isn't a competitor that don't show that fire or that passion. You know what I mean? And that's just the beauty of the game.
Absolutely. Do you think there's something that I can do, other players can do, but do you think that there is something to where these leagues can be used? Shy League, Drew League. I think Baltimore has a league. Seattle, Jamal's league. They just restarted the Moneyball League back in Michigan. What can be done with the NBA and partnering with these leagues? Because you get Seattle, you get Jamal, you get DeJounte. Jordan Poole went up there and played once. Tony Roden, who was an NBA player. You get Zach LaVine, Paolo now be playing. You get all of these pros. The Miami run, you get all of these pros. What can the NBA do with these leagues that can help these communities that they're in? Because all of these communities, like, Seattle's nice, but Seattle got the slums too.
Right, yeah.
LA's a nice city. We all know LA got slums. Miami's nice. They got slums. Baltimore, cool city, slums. What can the NBA do with these leagues and helping reach these communities? Because I think there's something could be done, but I don't know exactly what that thing is.
Right. I think even before you even include the NBA, I think it's on us.
Mm-hmm. Just
like last week, it was just a text message I got from Brian about playing in the Drew League, and look what we did in a matter of a couple of days.
Absolutely.
It's nothing but even that night, I think I seen Trae Young put something up on his story saying, two hoopers just going out there playing for the love of the game and bringing out, the fans. Mm-hmm. That's all it takes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's just one call, one text message away to be able to start this, cult following that we had. Think about the NBA didn't set nothing up during the lockout.
Absolutely.
That was all on us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was just players coming together saying, hey, let's do this weekend. Hey, let's do this. And I think the more we do that and the more attention we put towards that again, it's so much that could be done in those communities, bro. Because I get home that day after playing in Drew League, and I'm like, this is on ESPN, NBA TV, popping up on my app, on ESPN, on the phone. It was even on the NBA app.
Yeah.
You see
it's crazy.
You know what I mean? Just
bro, I had people texting me at the game about the game, and I'm sitting there like, but how, like, are you in this gym somewhere? Like, how are you talking about?
Right.
I didn't realize it was on the NBA app until I left. I'm like, I started seeing like screenshots and stuff. And then Stelly, who you know, it's like, bro, this is on the NBA app. This is crazy.
On the NBA app, bro. Like, it's amazing. So think about the power we have to be able to help these communities. So it's on us. It's just helping out one another. Even if we set up here and say, all right, let's get 5 guys from LA to play against 5 guys from Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just make it an annual thing. Once a year. It ain't gotta be something every week. You just do something once a summer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We go to Seattle, play against Jamal and X amount of people and bring out somebody, a special other player that's from somewhere else. You know what I mean? And compete. Like, it's all on us. You know, and you know how things work when you start to do like that. Other opportunities and bigger opportunities come that want to be a part of that to be able to help. So I think it just start with us.
That's a beautiful thing. By the way, Adam, I hope you're listening to this.
For sure.
I think the NBA has found a way, and gotta give Adam a lot of credit in what he's done since he's taken over as commissioner, to dominate every month of the year except August.
Yeah.
There's your August, Adam.
Yeah.
Get some guys. Guys can play these games in these cities. It's charity. It's for these communities. It's giving back. It's what the NBA stands for. That's what the NBA is all about. There's your August, Adam. That's how we take over August.
That's an amazing pitch right there for sure.
But I think that'll be great. But I'm watching this game and people are hitting me like, yo, are they going to lose? I'm like, it's no chance they lose in this game. At any point during that game, did you feel like y'all were going to lose that game?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
I didn't think so
Not
either.
at all.
And you know what? When they hit me, I said, it's no chance, because Martin Cleese has this saying he always said, a pro is a pro and a Joe is a Joe. Right. At the end of the day. Yeah. No disrespect to nobody, but a pro is a pro for a reason. So I'm watching the game and they're like, yo, they're going to win. I said, nah, I'm going to tell you how this is going to go. They're going to shut their water off. They're not going to be able to get a stop down the stretch. And them boys going to fold down the stretch because that pressure going to grow.
Yes.
And sure enough, y'all had a stretch where y'all put like 10 to 11 stops in a row together. You saw the intensity pick up. What it reminded me of was like an all-star game where like the first half, guys going through it, and then the third quarter it picks up, and the fourth quarter the intensity through the roof. And that's what it reminded me of. But so y'all pick up the intensity. You and Bron take over on the offensive end. But I'm going to tell you one sign when I knew, like, yep, they ain't ready for the moment. The big white kid, not sure what his name was. He played a great game.
He did.
Busting y'all. Did not miss a free throw the whole game.
Yes.
He missed 6 straight free throws in the fourth quarter. I'm like, there's pressure getting to these boys now.
Yep.
And I don't think people understand, like, there's pressure on you going into that game. Right. There's pressure on Bron going into that game. I don't think people understand that.
Not at all. They don't. They don't understand the magnitude of that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And think about it. If we lost, we got to live with that and hear that whole narrative. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, and, you know, the amount of games I've been in, obviously stuff with him, it's like, you know the moment. We understand the time on the clock. You know how it go in a game where you know, all right, 4 minutes, come on.
Yeah.
We know it. It's kind of like the 2-minute rule in football. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady know exactly what he's going to do. You know what I mean? So it came down to that moment. And at the same time, I'm glad it went that way because it made it more exciting for the people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's what was dope. Yeah, we could have went out there and won by 40, but it's just going to turn into, you know, people just trying to dunk their lives, whatever. I love that it turned out that way. It was very theatrical, and you know, an action movie ain't good if it ain't got no explosions in it. So hey, that's just what it is.
That part. Yeah. I like that. Now, and moving forward, I wanted to speak about that at length. Because like I said, I thought that was such a huge moment for basketball. I thought that was a huge moment for the city. I thought that was a huge moment for the culture. And I appreciated that. And I want people to understand that wasn't there, what that was, what it looked like, and hear it from you. Because like I can say all I want. I didn't play. You know what I'm saying? So to hear that from you, I want people to understand. And I also want to say thank you. Because what it to both of y'all, you and Bron, what it did for me was it woke up something in me.
Yeah.
And like that thing has not been awakened in me in years. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate that because that is a part of the game that I think we all start to get older and we like, I'm not playing in no more summer league.
Right.
I'm not playing in no more pickup. I'm going to just work out and get my body ready and rest. Mm-hmm. And it woke up something in me that I needed.
And think about you saying that and how many other our colleagues probably felt the same way. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, it was no way in hell I would have missed that game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just for the motivation to get, like, come on, man. None of us too good to not be able to go hoop. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what we do. Think about it, man. I remember playing outside when it was pouring down raining with nobody out there. You know what I mean? Just to play basketball. And it's like, as long as we got this opportunity to be able to play, we should just have fun and get back to that element of enjoying the game. You know what I mean? I think it got so caught up in it being such a business aspect of something. And it's like, it was a time where we played this thing every single day with no complaint and didn't get $1 from it. You know what I mean? We didn't have a highlight to go back and watch from it. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But we did it every single day. So that was what was the cool part of just, showing that Bron in his 20th year still coming out here playing like he's 16. Not worried about a missed shot or somebody picking him up or getting crossed over. The same with me. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the beauty of it. Even the guys we played against, you don't think they went home, told their girlfriend or did whatever and felt great about themselves?
Absolutely.
Being able to compete against two great players? That's what it's all about, man.
No doubt. So you headed into year 14.
Yeah, man.
Which is absolutely insane. Congratulations. That's an incredible accomplishment, by the way.
Thank you.
After year 12, a lot of doubt. A lot of, oh man, he don't shoot the three. The mid-range is a losing shot. Blah, blah, blah. Now, in saying that, everybody say the mid-range is a losing shot, and then that's the only shot you see taken in the playoffs. But they say all regular season it's a losing shot. But a lot of doubt, which I don't understand for someone that's accomplished so much, that's proven so much over and over and over again. But you faced a ton of doubt. Free agency, to me, didn't go for you how I think it should have went.
Right.
The interest around the league for a superstar on the market, it wasn't what it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you channel that and you go into Chicago your first year, second team All NBA, All-Star again. What was last year like for you reestablishing DeMar DeRozan? We're excited to introduce our new friends at the Draymond Green Show, Venturo Collective. Venturo is a premium lifestyle brand based in San Diego, California, carrying some of the hottest sunglasses in the game. If you don't know them yet, probably want to check them out. They're providing a 20% discount to the listeners of this show. All you have to do is use the code DRAY, D-R-A-Y, to get 20% off your sunglasses. Venturo designs all of their products in-house. They source their own materials and ship them directly to you. As you know, I'm a big fan of glasses. I usually keep some glasses on. And these glasses right here, very good glasses. I've actually dropped them a few times and they stand the test of time, but they got good weight. And if you know a good pair of sunglasses, they gotta have some good weight on them. You don't want them to get too flimsy. It starts to mess up. So both of these, sturdy, for a rough guy like myself, they stand the test of time. I'm a big fan of what Venturo is creating in the eyewear market. They have a ton of styles. They have a ton of colors to go with any outfit you have. So get your collection right today. Venturo is offering a special 20% off and free shipping to our listeners if you use the code DRE. So support our show and check out VINCERO collective.com/DRE to get yours today with that special 20% off.
See, this is a dope thing that, people out there don't know. We've had these conversations. We know it's been plenty of times you called me throughout the season, was like, hell yeah, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? It was never surprising to you. So it's this obviously my first time speaking up on a topic, which is, I think it'd be very insightful. I think, for me, my 3 years in San Antonio was such a it was such a question mark for me of trying to figure out the next phase of myself. Being in a place for so long, obviously Toronto, and feeling like, the franchise, all of a sudden you get knocked down back to humble beginnings and have to figure yourself out as a player. Doubt come in, questions come in, especially when all you see is a certain type of narrative that follow you. Can't do this, on down the line, and it takes a toll on you, because, me, I'm not the most outspoken person to go back and forth on debating myself with somebody else. So it put me in a mindset of, how can I figure this thing out within me and change the narrative in time? It used to be moments where overnight I wish I could do something right now to change this whole narrative. But I told myself my whole time in San Antonio, whenever I get my next opportunity, I'm going to make it make sense why I was in this position for 3 years being in San Antonio. And that summer come up going into free agency, like you said, it didn't go as planned. It was that kind of brought so much doubt in for me and put me in a dark place because I started to question, like, all right, where am I going now? What player am I going to be? You know what I mean? Like, so many of these questions start to creep in, and a lot of people didn't realize. Big names always kind of sign in the first day or two. I think I would a couple days into free agency was still such a question mark. Was I going to go somewhere for the 1 year deal? Was I going to take the minimum? The narrative of it was such it put me in a fucked up place, honestly. Like, and I remember through that whole time, it was 3-4 days in a row. I didn't leave out the room. I didn't see the sun set. I didn't see the sun come up. I sat in a room and just being like, I was depressed. It put me in a depressed mindset because I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. Was I going to come to LA? That fell through. That didn't happen. Was this? You seeing guys sign other places. Everybody hitting me like, man, what you going to do? What you going to do? And there was certain moments where I had no fucking clue what I was going to do, and when the Chicago thing came around and I made that happen, it was such a relief. But at the same time, it angered me and put me in a very frustrating mental of like, fuck this. I'm about to demolish anything you got to say about me. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just work my ass off, and I'm gonna prove, not just for myself, for anybody who feel like they get counted out, they get doubted, or get told that they can't do something. My whole career has kind of been based off that, but I never let it, bring me completely down. It knocked me down, but I got back up. And for me, that moment of going to Chicago, I just told myself, this is a new opportunity. I'm gonna make the most out of it in every way. And I remember, every time I did something, you'll call me. Every time it's like, keep going, keep going. You know what I mean? It was those conversations of like, my peers see it and they understand it. You know what I mean? I remember when I signed with Chicago, it was the worst free agent signing. Yeah, it was like, that's what you feel about me?
Absolutely.
So it was like, it was a vengeance out, not just for myself, but just for anybody that get put in that situation, because it's so easy to fall victim to the bullshit that they put on you.
Absolutely.
That is so false. You could lose confidence. You could doubt yourself. You could feel like maybe they right. When it's like, nah, I don't care how much older I'm getting. It's all about how much you put in, how much you love, and how much you're willing to sacrifice to keep getting better. Absolutely. And that was my whole approach, my mentality going into last season.
Such a beautiful thing to watch. And you spoke on a couple things, depression, your mental, that I want to get into. But it's very interesting to me because, like you said, I feel like I've lived this with you all year. From last year free agency and talking to you every day like, yo, you good? Yo, what about this? What about that? To then the conversation turning like, yo, come to the Warriors. And you're like, fuck no, I'm not coming there. Right? I'm not coming to play with y'all. I'm like, bruh, but you come to the Warriors, we can win a championship if you come to the Warriors. He didn't come.
He did say that.
we still won a championship, but he didn't come. However, I had to throw that one out there. Like you said, the thing that really pissed me off most, and aside from our relationship, that made me call every day or every time you did something was like, and you just hit on it. Are you going to take a minimum? People were like, are you going to take a minimum? I mean, even when I called talking about you should come to the Warriors, I was talking about no minimum. A minimum. That's baffling to me. For someone who's still athletic, still score the basketball, don't get in no trouble, true professional, and a bucket. A minimum. The disrespect for me just didn't sit well. And the disrespect was coming from people who never done it, ain't gonna do it, can't do it, won't do it. And most importantly, don't know it. I'm so sick of people that don't know basketball, that pick up a stat sheet and look at the stat sheet and say, oh man, like they'll look at the stat sheet for you and say, oh, he had 27 points, but he didn't shoot no threes.
Right. Yeah.
He's a bad player.
Yeah.
That's what was spirited for me. Like, oh no, you gotta destroy everybody. And to then watch you come out and do that, to watch you spend more than half of the season top 3 in MVP race, that's a different thing. And to get the Bulls back to the playoffs, regardless of the injury. See, the thing that made your season so great to me was Zach was in and out of the lineup due to injury. Vooch was in, or COVID stuff. Everybody dealt with that. Vooch was in and out of the lineup, injury, COVID stuff. Caruso missed a bunch of the season. Lonzo missed majority of the season. And the one constant were you. And I thought that was very special. I thought you looked like DeMar DeRozan again. And what most people don't know, that's coming off the heels of your father passing away. It's a different thing to deal with. How could you channel that? Like, and especially with the LA thing, right? Like, if you get to stay home in LA, mom's is here, everything just a little better, that seemed like it's going to happen, and it don't. Another thing, right? How were you able to channel all of that into being DeMar DeRozan?
Man, I'll be lying to you to tell you that I didn't have days where, it just got extremely heavy. You kind of just shut down and take a moment to yourself to kind of regroup. But I always just told myself, my favorite saying to myself was always, make something bad that happened make sense down the line. Whatever that may be. That's all I used to tell myself. Let me make this negative make sense down the line. And I always told myself whenever I got down, whenever I felt a certain type of way. So everything I whether if it was trying to be a better son, be a better father, be a better friend, be a better basketball player, it was always trying to find different elements of just trying to be better to make sense of the negative that I'm going through. And I just stuck to it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I just stuck to it. I had days here and there, but I just stuck to it. And every time I got that opportunity, and I trust everything I put into it, and I knew nobody suffered like I did. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because one, I never screamed out, I never lashed out. I never wanted nobody to feel sorry for me. I never threw a pity party. Nothing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Nothing. So it was always me telling myself, no one suffered like I suffered. So everything else is going to be easy. Mm-hmm. And
100%.
That's just how I took the approach. You know what I mean? And that goes for anybody that feel like they're going through something. You're not alone, but it's always a way you could channel that emotion, that negative feeling that you may carry into something positive, as long as you make it make sense. You know what I mean? And that's that was just my mental. That was just my approach. And to this day, I still take the same approach.
It's beautiful and it's inspiring. Your father passed away and you continue on. And I think, we've all seen death around us. I've seen death around me as long as I can remember. And to me, I always say, people hit you up for a week. People around for a week or two, like, oh, how you doing? Then they just go away as if the problem don't go away. How are you? Like, that don't go away. You don't get another father.
Right.
How are you? Like, how are you dealing with that? Because you're still dealing with that. That don't change.
I think when I lost my dad, it opened me up to accept being, in a sense, vulnerable, accepting life in a different, light, because, you start to realize, the saying, everybody say nothing is promised, but you get a different sense of it, when something of that magnitude hits you, and, my dad taught me everything. My dad was, everything. He was the only man I feared. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's deep.
You feel me?
That's
so,
very deep.
He was the only man I feared. And when I say fear, it was never nothing in a negative light, but it was always, I don't want to let you down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, I don't want to let my dad down. Or, damn, I don't want him to, know I did this. I don't want him to be mad at me. I don't want this. I don't want this. So it pushed me to a level of, always consistently being focused as much as I can so I can make my dad proud.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just because, he looked at me in a certain light as being his, his youngest son, and I always wanted to honor that as much as I could. So losing him, it kind of, gave me a different sense of empathy towards life. And start to value and look at things with more of a acceptance of understanding that, this thing is short, and if you don't give your all or put your all into being a good friend, a good person, whatever it may be, what you doing it for, and that's one thing that he helped me with now and let me know when you go through something, it's okay. Like it's okay to go through something or have a bad stretch of something or be in a stuck place, because that's not going to last forever. What's going to last forever, well, for the lifetime, is me not being able to see my father again. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
A bad week ain't going to last. A bad month ain't going to last. It's just, as long as you're working on yourself and you're trying to better yourself in those moments, it's okay to not be okay, to be okay.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing that opened me up and helped me kind of thrive to be a better, individual for real.
No doubt. You just said something and I responded. I said, that's deep. And I want to touch on that. That's the only man that I feared. And that hits home with me for a very specific reason. Number one, my grandfather, when he passed away, like, that's who that was the man that I feared. And I never found that again in my life, right? And so I felt like because I never found that again in my life, there's some issues
for sure
that arose in my life that could have been prevented and would have been prevented had I had that man still in my life that I feared. My mom, to this day, I still fear my mom. Yeah. Like, I sometimes get nervous when she called, like when she would call when I was younger, and I'd be like, oh man, I'm in trouble. I still sometimes get that feeling like, oh man, she about to get at me. There are things that I would have done in this life right now, currently today, like my daily life, that I don't do because I know how upset she would be. She would never let me live it down. She disowned me as a son. And it's not that I would do something that I won't do now because I'm afraid of her, but also from a standpoint of letting her down. And it keeps that sense of what's acceptable and what's not. Because in this world we live in, some things that are accepted aren't really acceptable. And my mom don't play that. And it holds me in a certain area. How can you find that again? Because I think for me, it took me a long time to find it. And I never found it again like, oh, I'm afraid of this man. I found different people that I could trust that will hold me accountable in certain areas, my wife being one of them, that has helped elevate me. How have you found yourself adjusting in that light?
Bro, exactly what you said. When I lost my dad, like I lost myself for a while. That's crazy you said that because I haven't had a conversation with somebody who put it in the same terms that you just put it. And you hit it on the head because when I lost my dad, I lost myself for a long time. Like, you know, I put myself in a lot of shit where if he was here, I never would have put myself in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you know, we've had conversations to where you had to tell me something from a brother's standpoint that I sat there and listened.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in that situation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I've never had to deal with another person or me being accepting of another man telling me about myself. And we had conversations where we had brother to brother conversation and I heard you out. You know what I mean?
100%.
And losing my dad, that's kind of what, going back to what I was saying before, that's what kind of opened you up to be able to be accepting of a real friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Be accepting of someone who close to you, allowing them to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I always felt like I didn't need help because this is the only person I need to hear something from is my dad. Can't no other man tell me nothing. This is my dad, man. He raised me. You know what I mean?
Facts.
From top to bottom. So nobody else could tell me nothing. So when I lost him, you know, you began to be in search of those elements that can help replace what you feel like you lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That started, and I think that's why our bond is so close how it is, because we was able to do that. Mm-hmm. That's something I probably never even told you, but now you know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
It just be dope shit like that to where it really becomes a blessing when you lose somebody, something else replace it in whatever way you may need it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you hit it on the head, bro. When you lose something that stops so much other stuff from happening because you care about that one person thought or what they may say to you. You know, I lost that, and I lost myself for a long time after that, for a long time. So, at the same time, you know, that's the beauty of life. You know, you constantly growing. You know, nobody ever hit the ceiling. This is a forever thing that you have to figure out. You know what I mean? Nobody got the complete answer. So, yeah, that's crazy you said that, bro.
No, that's a beautiful thing.
Crazy.
And I think it's a good segue. You've been very outspoken about mental health for years. Before, for lack of a better term, before it was cool to speak on mental health. Like, it's cool now. Not that it's a cool thing. It's cool, it's accepted.
Right.
You spoke out about it when it wasn't accepted.
Yeah.
When it was like, oh man, you just using that you know, to get by, or, you know, that's an excuse, or this, that, and other. How has your journey been with your mental health and going through the things you spoke about? And specifically, you spoke about being depressed and already having mental health struggles. Did that help you with the current thing that sent you into that depression?
For sure. Because before you accept and understand what depression really is, you hide from it and you kind of worsen yourself unknowingly, you know, and you find certain ways, you know, you can't understand, like, why I'm so mad, why I'm so frustrated, why I'm taking this, why I'm lashing out on this, why I'm taking something that happened yesterday out on this person that have nothing to do with yesterday's issue. You know what I mean? Before I was that person to where I used to push everybody away. I didn't want to talk. But once you identify it, you start to understand why you're feeling that way. You'll catch on to it, and you kind of write down your thoughts and your feelings of why you're feeling like that or what triggered it. Get a better understanding on that. So you don't worsen the feeling. You know what I mean? Or you may just call up somebody you close to and have a conversation about it and get it off your chest. Now you could go on about your day and not feel so down as you usually would be. So for me, it just helped me identify and find inspiration in other people's story as well. When you look at somebody that could be going through something that way worse than what I just thought my problem was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm tripping on having a flat tire when this person, just lost somebody close to him to a sickness or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you kind of balancing out, and it's all about understanding the feeling, understanding yourself, and understanding what triggers you. And I didn't have none of that understanding before, where you would just hide and run from your problems, and you just stackpiling them unknowingly until you just lash out and explode.
How did you get to the point to where you were able to identify depression, to where you were able to identify mental health struggles? Did you see someone? Was it something you studied? How did you get to that point?
I think I end up crashing. I just end up crashing. Like I just hit a wall. And when I hit that wall, I think I was just so down and out, and I just wanted to understand where this feeling coming from. You start to backtrack and understand, why I find, comfort in darkness sometimes. And this is one thing I learned in therapy. We was talking about my dad one moment, and I got a tattoo. I got a tattoo on me from Batman. What Bane said, basically, I was born in darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That quote,
Yep.
right? And it was something I found out about me having such a comfort with darkness. Was when I was young, my dad always used to lock me in the closet. And I used to kick the door, like screaming, panic and everything. So one day he threw me in the closet. It was dark. And I didn't kick, I didn't knock on the door, I didn't tell him to let me out, anything. To where in that moment, he never put me in the closet again, because in that moment, I realized darkness ain't nothing to me. So it became such a comfort to where it becomes such a systematic, I forgot what they called it, systematic desensitization of a feeling. And
Give me that one again.
It's systematic, what was it? I gotta find the word. It's systematic desensitization. Basically, where you put yourself through something so much to where it don't even affect you anymore. And him putting me in a dark closet so many times, it was nothing to me. So I became so comfortable with darkness that I put that with chaos, to where I'm carrying chaos like it's nothing. But that's not good for your mind as a kid growing up. You know what I mean? Think about where we come from. You see so much violence, so much, it becomes such a norm, when this shit ain't normal.
Yeah.
This shit shouldn't be normal. You know what I mean? We wouldn't let our kids watch a certain movie because it have a certain amount of violence in
Mm-hmm.
it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But when you live through that and it becomes such a norm, that isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally crashed and hit a wall, you backtrack on all these things that you thought was nothing, that you carried into your adulthood. Think about it. We come from nothing. All of a sudden, you're giving us money. Now we have a lot of money. Now we don't know what to do with the money.
Yep.
Now it's everybody got a handout.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody get mad when you want to give them something. Everybody, you inherit everyone's problems before you even deal or understand what your own problems is, or that you've been carrying. So for me, it was one of those things that I crashed and burned, and I kind of just took a layout on everything that I've been through. Then I just got to a point to where, like, why should I feel a way expressing myself knowing I went through all this shit before I even got here? I would never feel less of a man. I made it out of Compton, California. Like,
Facts.
Why nobody could make me feel soft or anything? And that was just that moment where it hit me to where I gotta say something, because I'm carrying so much of my emotions on my shoulders that I know so many other people carry. Think about how many people we know hide behind the money, the glamour, the false persona of this whole shit. and don't even know themselves until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I never wanted to be that person. I always told myself, when I retire, I don't want to be that old grumpy ex-basketball player with a lot of money. I always told myself that. I don't want to be that old motherfucker that just sits up mad at everybody but got a bunch of money because I didn't figure out or indulge and be vulnerable and understand myself to help other people.
Yeah.
I always told myself that once I came out with being depressed was I just want to, when I retire, I want to be happy. Like I just want to sit back and be happy and enjoy everything that I went through and start a new chapter of my life and enjoy that next journey, you know, and that's just my perception of, you know, me coming out with being depressed.
You're currently working on a project around mental health. Can you share what that project is, why you wanted to do it, and what you hope to get out of it?
Yeah, I came up with a project basically having one-on-one conversations such as this, but more with an intimate setting. More so, you know, imagine if the cameras wasn't here, nobody was here, just a blunt, in-depth conversation that we may have. Think about the conversations we had on the phone if those was recorded. How that could inspire or help someone else that's going through something similar. You know what I mean? And it's basically one of those, you know, blunt conversation that you would have when nobody else around. Right. You know, and being open, and obviously, you know, our relationship and the conversations that the phone conversation we had, putting that, you know, on Front Street to be able to show our vulnerability and the things that we go through and show how imperfect we are. But at the same time, we striving to be better every single day. And that's what it's about, because people look at us in such a light of superheroes. Sometimes we got to break ourselves down and show that we're the same as you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that goes a long way when you could see us in that light and have conversation with, you know, you got a hell of a story. Fuck basketball. Before we even got there, the story of the trials, the ups and downs of the things you've been through that made you who you are. Give a better understanding of, you know, when I, you know, it trips me out when I watch you play and people look at, oh, why Draymond acting like that? It's something in him with, if he didn't have that, he wouldn't be where he at today. You see what I'm saying? And you should be more intrigued and want to understand what's that brings that fire out of him. Absolutely. Because maybe you have it too, but you just don't know how to unlock it. Or you so ashamed because you care what somebody else think, you don't want to unlock that passion that you have towards something. You know what I mean? You're limiting yourself. Like, that's how I look at people, and being able to have and sit downs over a dinner table and you know, dissect one another, you know, goes a long way. You know what I mean? Because I know when I look, think about when we grew up, you couldn't see interviews of your favorite players. You know what I mean? The only time you seen them is on TV or if they speak after a game or something. But imagine if we seen our favorite players say, yo, I went through this. This how I got through it. You know, really break themselves down to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I used to see like certain players. I remember when I first heard Nick Van Exel talk, right? I was like, he sound like that? Because you watch him for years, but you don't know how he talk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, he talk like that? Man, he not from LA. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I look at it from the standpoint of when we break ourselves down and have real life conversation, bro, that goes so far because they just see us hoop every single day throughout a season, talk about basketball throughout a season, where it's like, yo, we human beings, we all have a fucking incredible story that we could share. And I just want to put that on the Front Street to be able to do that with some of my favorite players, that not even players, people that I find inspiration from, you know, in all angles. So that's what the show gonna be all about. And I think it's gonna be dope, you know, especially with the obviously you gonna be one, but you know, the other people that I have in mind sitting down talking with, it's gonna be special.
I'm excited to do it. Like I said, number one, I just never take these opportunities for granted, just to sit and chop it up. But also to, like you said, to indulge in those conversations, and more importantly, for people to see you, like to see you in a light that they haven't seen, because like to them, you're super quiet, which you are, but when you have a relationship with somebody, you're not. And so it's almost like coming out of your shell. And I think it's so on point. Like you're going into your 14th year, but you're only 32 years old. And you're the same age as me. I'm going into year 11. I did my bid. It's cool. But I felt like this, and it's all, I'm literally sitting here talking to you right now, and it's all tying together for me because I feel like this year has been such a year of growth for you. And so I'm sitting here looking at it now, and it's tying together for me. It's like, Pops, free agency, go crazy. And I felt like, and watching you this year on the court, you were coming out of a shell. Like, you stepped into, I'm really one of them guys. Nah, I'm really good in this league. That's a different thing. Like, you've been really good for a long time. You stepped into this year like, no, I'm one of them. And I don't think people's been trying to put you there. People's been trying to put you in like this subcategory of like good players. And we know like there's that category in the league of like guys that's really good, but not quite. And I feel like you finally like, oh no, I'm going to show y'all that I am here. And now you're coming with the project, and like, I feel like it's all tying together for you, and like you're coming out of your shell, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dope. I mean, I'm just a firm believer in just timing too. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people say, I don't do this, but I just always believe in just like the universe putting what's necessary in front of you to accomplish something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I never been the one to force anything. You know what I mean? Same way, if you look at how I play, I treat my life the same way. You ain't gonna force me to do anything I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna get to my spot. I'm gonna make it happen when it need to happen, how it need to happen.
Facts. Before we get out of here, I want to end this on a couple basketball questions. I know that conversation got a little heavy. Hope everyone enjoyed it. But spoke on you, Zach. Congratulations to Zach.
Yeah, congrats.
Incredible contract. Caruso, Vooch, Lonzo. That's who I view as the core five.
Yeah.
And y'all will be healthy and whole this year. What is that next? What needs to happen outside of health for y'all to take that next step now getting in the playoff? Like, I think everybody thought y'all was really serious contender in the Eastern Conference, and then all the injuries and stuff started happening. What needs to happen for y'all to take that next step to get the Chicago Bulls franchise back to where we know that franchise once was?
I think for us, as a group, as a core, many of us wasn't together much, but at the same time, the experience and, the second half of the season, we got to know what that felt like going in training camp. We kind of fell apart. We lost ourselves, obviously, through health, but regardless, I think I told one of the young guys after All-Star break, I said, this is the moment when you see what teams are serious. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know what I meant by that. Mm-hmm. And for us to, hit the wall that we hit, showed that, we wasn't ready for adversity. We had so much success so early to where you can lose sight of how hard this shit really is to really compete. Mm-hmm. And a couple guys, even Zach, he missed a game in the playoffs, but that was his first playoff run. And him not being healthy, I know that frustrated him. So him having that extra fire and him understanding how hard it was just to get to the playoffs. I think for us, it's just the understanding and knowing that this shit is completely hard. Like, that is hard. Like, nothing is going to come easy. This shit is a grind every single day, and that mindset you got to carry. You can't be satisfied with a 2-game win streak, 5-game, whatever it may be. This shit is a long journey, and it's hard, and you got to treat it like that every single day. Think about y'all. I look at y'all, and that y'all team this year may be one of my favorite teams in history, simply because which I was faced up against, Everybody doubted y'all.
Mm-hmm.
How Clay came back for being out the amount of time he was out. But every time y'all went out there and played, that shit was extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
And for me as a basketball junkie, that's how I look at it. Like, these motherfuckers knew this shit was gonna be hard, and they embraced it and accepted every single day. And that's the beauty of this game, because everybody gets to a point to where, damn, this shit hard. A game or two, they fold. Every single one of y'all game was extremely hard until that shit was over.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of teams lose sight of that. You know, you play 50, 60 games, like, this shit hard, man, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You series tied 3-3, this shit hard, man, fuck it. They got it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the beauty of this game, is those who accept it being hard and want it to be tough, because I want to prove to myself I could get over this shit. And,
absolutely.
And that's what it was. And I think y'all was very indicative of that. And I think when you get a group of guys to buy in that way, you get outcomes like that. No matter what somebody say, y'all the favorites or not. You know what I mean? It's those teams that win it.
For sure. I think honestly, that's why I have so much gratitude, it's because it was hard.
Yeah.
And like the things you just said, it wasn't supposed to happen. And as hard as it was, you could see teams get to that point and break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and although it was still very hard for us, and like, I feel like this playoff run, I went through everything I could possibly go through. I went through great times. I went through awful times. I went through the middle. But it was something different about this one. And the challenge that it was. Like, so if you put it in context, like the first championship we won, after that regular season, I knew, like, yo, we got the best team.
Yeah, yeah.
But you didn't know how to win a championship then. You know, so that's that one. 2017 and 2018, it was literally just a matter of getting to the day that we can win. Once we got to that date, I knew we'd win.
Mm-hmm.
This year was different. With all the doubt, like you said, with Clay coming back, he comes back. The day he come back, I go down. The day I come back, Steph go down. It's like, this ain't supposed, I started to think this ain't supposed to happen for us. You know, like, it's not the year. I even told one of my homeboys, like, I'm going to probably see you right after the first round because I just don't see it happening for us. And so it was a very special year, and hard as it was, it made it the most special.
Right.
Because it was the hardest one we had to go through. Chicago, every time I play there, I hear that music and at the starting lineup, and it does something to me. I feel like Michael Jordan about to run out of the tunnel. Do y'all get that sense in playing there and getting that every single day, or is it not?
For sure.
Quite?
Yeah, no question. It trips me out, even just driving there, bro. Like, parking outside. I remember just seeing all the highlights, Jordan back in the day, parking outside, you know. Like, so for me, every time I go there, bro, I feel it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, you just feel like you gotta bring it every single night, especially for those fans, man. And it's crazy. I was telling somebody, I think I was telling my I forgot who I was telling my partners this the other day. I said, the moment where I really realized, like, you gotta bring it every single night in that arena. I've never spoken this, like, on nothing media, and then I think we was 4 or 5 games into the season. We was playing the Knicks, and I took the game winner. I airballed, and I just felt like the whole vibe of everything. Like, what the fuck? Like, what was that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I disrespected the aura of what these fans is used to seeing from obviously MJ hitting game winners, and you live for those moments. And to be in that moment for the first time, my 4th, 5th season of the game, and I take that shot, it was like I told myself I would never be in that situation again. To let that same feeling happen for these fans.
Mhm.
I swear to God, bro. I never told that. It was that game to where it was like that every shot I take in a clutch, I'm gonna make it count every single time. So you look back at all the moments that I had in the arena, it was more so like, yo, this the ghost of like I'm trying to inherit the ghost of Michael shooting his fadeaway with the clock running down. Like
Absolutely.
I carried that to heart after that moment because you felt it from the fans. You felt it on social media when it was like, yeah, you taking that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was like, nah. So that's how I carry it every time I walk in there. You see Scotty, Michael, you see Bob Love, you see these jerseys up there, and it's like, and you hear this music when you come out. It's
Facts.
the same, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. You gotta live up to it. You got to.
So there you have it. You were wondering where those game winners stem from. My man, by the way, don't get so cocky and give us the one-leg game winner again, man. Put that back in your bag, man.
I had to.
But in speaking of game winners, and I think this is a great way for us to end, I'm going to end this with a trivia question. Actually on clutch shot making. I'm going to give you the first one. You have the most clutch shots made since 2012 with 64. Who are the next 4? Since 2012, so that's my rookie year.
Yeah, Steph.
Actually, number 2. With 62, by the way.
How many I got?
64.
Steph.
For those of you that don't know, by the way, clutch shots is in the last 5 minutes of a game
I've seen it
or
before.
overtime.
Hold on, I've seen this before. Steph, Dame.
Dame has 61.
How many you said it is?
There's 4 more after you. Just the next 4 in line.
And I named 2 more, right?
You named Steph and Dame. There's 2 more. Give you a hint. They play on the same team.
KD, Kyrie?
And
wait, hold on. Oh, it got to be Brian and Russ.
Russ got 61 as well. Brian got 55.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I think this is a very interesting thing because 2 of these guys on this list, one sitting right here and Russ, the disrespect is unbelievable.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And all you got to do, you can check stats like this. Like, this is a real stat. Like, guys hitting in the 4th quarter, guys don't do that. Then you could check the tape, too, which most of that's another topic. Everybody can't check the tape. We know that. But this is a very interesting stat for y'all. Learn, stop chasing these disrespectful hits, man. You got real people, real hoopers, real legends, real Hall of Famers doing this. Appreciate it, because it don't last forever.
It don't last, and it's not an accident.
It's not.
It's not a coincidence, or it's not an accident.
This man wake up every day, 4 o'clock in the morning working out. I ain't doing that. I'm going to work out at 9. But I honestly, I want to say thank you for coming on, bro. It is an honor and a pleasure to sit here and talk with you. Because like I said, I know not many people can say they get a conversation like this from you. And I don't take that for granted. To everybody out there listening, I hope you enjoyed it. We thank you, brother, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Jackson, producer, we've been at this thing for almost a year, and it's been great. And it's been great because of guys like yourself coming on and opening up and sharing your story, because ultimately that's what the fans want to hear. So I thank you, bro.
Man, thank you, bro.
Absolutely. That's a wrap. Peace.